38岁小仙女8年拒绝男友8次求婚。
A 38-year-old woman rejected 8 marriage proposals over 8 years. But unexpectedly, just a few days later, she suddenly received a wedding invitation from her boyfriend. The woman broke down in tears on the spot. She said, "He got married immediately, but the bride is not me." The woman, named Yue, 38 years old, is a teacher at a training school in Shenzhen. She and her boyfriend had been in love for 8 years, maintaining a very stable relationship. They quickly fell deeply in love, making vows of eternal commitment. Both were teachers and shared a love for the arts, truly a match made in heaven. They even planned to hold a grand wedding in a church overseas. She once wrote a poem. "You said you would take me to the church for our wedding. Our foreign friends would bless us. Then we would go to Longmas Square, holding hands as doves flew around us. But now, all those beautiful memories have turned into nothing but foam." The vows of the past could not withstand the cruel reality. The two had once promised each other that they would go to a church in Italy, walk hand in hand, hold their wedding ceremony, and receive blessings from their foreign friends. An 8-year love story, a wedding abroad. She had always believed they would stay happy together like that. But unexpectedly, right after her boyfriend was rejected for the 8th time, he suddenly disappeared without a trace. She traveled thousands of miles to find him, only to be met with a closed door. She couldn't see him. What she found instead was a wedding invitation. Through tears, she said, "My boyfriend is getting married, but the bride is not me." No one could understand her pain. The two of them had been through so many hardships together over the past 8 years. How could he suddenly decide to marry someone else just like that? Carrying her resentment, believing her boyfriend to be unfaithful and a betrayer, she sought out a mediator to demand justice and prove that she was his real girlfriend. Immediately, she pulled out their chat messages, where it was written, "You said you would take me to Longmas Square, right? Hold me in your arms as the doves fly around us, right?" Faced with such undeniable evidence, even the mediator was furious. The mediator comforted her and promised to help her seek justice. Together, they went to the school where her boyfriend worked, only to find out that he had taken a 1-month leave to prepare for his wedding. After many efforts, they finally found the boyfriend and his older brother. She confronted him, saying, "You choose. Who do you really want to marry?" This was not a question he should answer before getting married, but one she was asking him now. The boyfriend replied, "Tomorrow is already my wedding day, and now you're asking me who I choose?" She and the mediator immediately criticized the unfaithful man. Unexpectedly, the boyfriend appeared aggrieved. He defended himself, saying, "I proposed to her 8 times, and every time she rejected me. What right does she have to blame me? I was the one who decided to end things. I've taken care of her for 8 years. Is that still not enough?" It turned out that this man was an art lecturer at a prestigious university, romantic and full of artistic spirit. In his younger years, he had already been married. In 2007, Gui Yue posted a search for a life partner online. In her photo, she radiated youthfulness, her beauty as gentle as autumn water. The moment he saw her, he fell in love. He introduced himself as a single man in order to pursue her. Every day, he sent her a love letter, writing romantic poems with his artistic penmanship. With his eloquence and charm, he quickly won her heart. They plunged into a passionate love affair. Even though she later learned he was married, Yue was undeterred and willing to face any consequences. Out of love, the man didn't hesitate to divorce his wife. At that time, his ex-wife called and pleaded with Yue, saying, "You've just met him, you're still young, and your feelings are not that deep yet. Keeping a family together is not easy. If you can let go, please let go." But Yue coldly responded, "Whether he has a wife or not has nothing to do with me. I only message and call him, that's all." His family strongly opposed their relationship. His father was so furious that he nearly lost his life. Before passing away, he left a will stating that under no circumstances should his son marry her, but the man ignored everything and continued to be with Yue. When she fell ill, he took care of her meticulously. When she refused to eat, he fed her spoon by spoon like a father caring for a child. For 8 years, he proposed to her many times, but each time she refused. Frustrated, he once said, "People say Zhuge Liang was invited 3 times before he agreed to help the kingdom, but I have proposed 8 times. That's enough to invite 3 Zhuge Liangs to restore the Han dynasty." The boyfriend was furious. In 2011, he decisively returned to Beijing to prepare for studying abroad. Over the next 3 years, he repeatedly tried to break up, but Yu Yue constantly threatened and clung to him. I told her countless times that we had broken up, he said, but she retorted, then why did he keep coming back to me? He explained that although 3 years had passed, during those 3 years he texted and called her every single day. Every night, if I wasn't in Shenzhen, I would call her and say, "Hey, my love, baby, are you asleep yet?" It was always the same every single day. He continued, if I didn't call her, she would force me to. If I refused, there would be serious consequences. Both of them believed they were in the right. Ultimately, the evidence showed that they still occasionally texted or called to check in on each other and met 2 to 3 times a month. Meanwhile, in Beijing, the man was not idle. He had already started dating a woman introduced to him by his family. A few months ago, on the 17th, he flew to Shenzhen. In front of Yue Yue's younger sisters, he got down on one knee, holding a bouquet of roses, and proposed to her for the 8th time. As expected, she rejected him outright again. After returning to Beijing, he completely gave up on her and began preparing to marry his current girlfriend, whom he had been dating for 1 to 2 years. Hearing this, Yue completely broke down. She felt that her intentions had been entirely misunderstood. She said, I rejected him only because I wanted the best for him. Love can only last when it is built on a solid economic foundation. But her boyfriend was just a university lecturer with a modest salary, completely incapable of fulfilling her dream of a luxurious house and an expensive car. So, she believed that rejecting his proposals would motivate him to strive for greater success, using a method of strict encouragement to push him to keep improving. However, she never expected that after 8 rejections, her boyfriend could no longer endure this special encouragement and decided to end things for good. No matter what, Yu Yue was determined to get an explanation. In the middle of the mediation session, her boyfriend could no longer take it and turned his back, walking away. Before leaving, he agreed to compensate Yue Yue with a sum of money, considering it the final closure of everything between them. Before long, the wedding day arrived. On the other side, the sounds of trumpets and drums filled the air, a lively and joyful atmosphere, brimming with happiness. Meanwhile, Yu Yue sat in silence, scrolling through old messages, reminiscing about their past love. As she read, a surge of anger rose within her. She couldn't understand. She was talented, outstanding, and exceptional. So why did her boyfriend still choose to marry someone else? In her pain and fury, a wild thought suddenly flashed through her mind. She wanted to crash the wedding. The mediator tried to stop her, asking, "What good will that do? Watching him get married? Will that make you feel any better? Besides, doing so might ruin another woman's happiness." Yu Yue snapped back, "I'm not stealing anyone's man," the mediator said. "But when you was with him, I unknowingly put another woman in a difficult situation." Yu yelled, "So, in the end, everyone is siding with him, right?" The mediator said, "No matter how much you make a fuss, nothing will change. Is that it?" Yue said, "You're making a scene for nothing. I just want an explanation." 2 hours later, Yue and her group arrived at the wedding venue. By then, the ceremony had already ended. Her ex-boyfriend stood hand in hand with his bride, smiling brightly as they bid farewell to their guests. Seeing the scene before her, Yue was consumed with rage and screamed, "You are a liar. Do you not have the courage to admit it? You wasted 8 years of my youth. Who betrayed whom? Who stole from whom?" The groom's family and relatives rushed out to stop her, scolding her for being shameless and warning her not to ruin the wedding. They forcefully pushed her into a car to remove her from the scene. But no matter how much she cried and accused him, her ex-boyfriend did not change his decision. She walked straight toward the lake. Just as the mediator feared she was about to do something reckless, they suddenly realized dramatic scenes of jumping into a lake only happen in TV dramas. Her real purpose was simply to recite a poem. "You deliberately toyed with my sincerity. Why did you treat me this way? Why did you break my heart like this? Oh, all my efforts, my exhaustion, my longing. Like a bird in flight, they have vanished into nothingness. And yet, now, you share a bed with someone else, holding the hand of another woman to build a new life? Oh, my heart, what's wrong with you?" Even in death I must love him. O vast sky and boundless earth, my youth has been wasted in vain. If cries of sorrow could change fate, then the lakeside would long be crowded with people waiting in line. But no matter how much regret one feels, there is no cure for remorse in this world. After that, his phone became unreachable, and the compensation he had promised was never mentioned again. Seeing this, Yui could only let out a bitter laugh. She had known all along that this man would never have the courage to take responsibility for his mistakes. But at this moment, she no longer had the strength to wait, to argue, or to make a scene. The only thing she wanted was to leave this painful place as soon as possible. In the end, her companion could only stand and watch as Yui boarded a train heading south toward Guangzhou, bringing a complete end to this sorrowful chapter of her life. Love requires sincerity, not an exchange. Regardless of gender, youth is precious for everyone. In the end, neither you nor this man was the true victim. Both were equally at fault. One constantly delayed, using emotions as leverage to push the other to meet material expectations, while the other was fickle and unfaithful, unable to make a decisive choice. From the very beginning, this relationship was built on a flawed foundation. They had come together through an affair, so their tragic ending was no surprise. This is a wake-up call for anyone who walks the wrong path. What you sow, you shall reap. If Yui had chosen to walk away when she first learned that this man was married, perhaps she would have never fallen into this tragedy. She was the one who destroyed another family's happiness, yet now she sees herself as the victim? As for the man, though he is now settled into a new marriage, with all the wrongs he has done, I believe life will not let him off so easily. One way or another, his actions will come back to haunt him. In the end, this is not a tragic love story. It is a costly lesson in morality and karma. A relationship built on betrayal, lies, and greed will never have a happy ending. The only things left behind are regret and the ridicule of the world. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to hit like to support the video, leave a comment with your thoughts below, and share it to spread this message to more people. Most importantly, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss our next exciting videos. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.